In this episode, we are going to talk about the twin brother of EBS volume. You know, I told you in the last lecture that EBS volume is the storage for EC2 server. So it is where some of the configuration, the networking, and some security stuff that have been configured on our EC2 server, where they have been stored, is what we call EBS volume. Now, apart from EBS volume have a twin brother that we call EC2 Instance Store. Now, this one have higher performance than in EBS volume itself. Now, why? This one is not like EBS volume that can store small amount of data. This one can store large amount of data, and it has higher performance than EBS volume. We all know that EBS volume is a very good storage for EC2 instance, but the problem is that it has limited performance, and that is where EC2 Instance Store shine most. You see, this EC2 Instance Store, it is used when you actually need higher performance, when you actually want your EC2 web server to perform very fast, to speed up the work very fast. Let's say for example, in a website, maybe a website that will have video, we have images that once people visit it, it will play, or once people visit it, it will show. To speed up the loading time of those images or those videos, so engineers prefer using EC2 Instance Store because it has higher performance. So EC2 Instance, it has high IOPS, that's input and output performance, than even EBS volume. So EC2 Instance Store has higher performance, can really perform better than EBS volume, and that is why it is more preferable whenever it comes to performance. But the only problem that EC2 Instance Store has is that it cannot retain its own data if the EC2 server fails. Unlike EBS volume that can retain data, but EC2 Instance Store cannot retain data. The moment that particular web server fails, the EC2 Instance Store also fail or crash, and as a result of that, we call it ephemeral storage. So it has ephemeral storage, and that is why any data that is stored on it, the moment the EC2 server crash, it also crash along with it. Unlike EBS volume that will still retain the data. EC2 Instance Store is permanent and fixed to EC2 instance. While EBS volume can be attached or detached, can be moved from one EC2 to the other. So basically, what they mostly use EC2 Instance Store for is whenever they need higher performance, and it is mostly used during a batch operation. So maybe during the time that they need to make a task to be very fast, or to make something to work very fast, to make something to perform very fast. That is the only time that they use EC2 Instance Store. So EC2 Instance is mostly used for temporary contents, for cache, for urgent or batch job. So as an engineer, it is your entire responsibility to set up backup anytime you are using EC2 Instance Store for your EC2 web server, because anytime that EC2 web server crash, just know that your EC2 Instance Store will also crash along. So there must always be a backup, maybe to S3 archive, or to maybe another EBS volume, or anywhere you want to have a backup. So you must always have backup anytime you are using EC2 Instance Store. So that is just that about EC2 Instance Store. So in an exam setting, anytime that you see that maybe they say they attach a particular storage to make EC2 instance to have higher performance, just know that the correct answer to that is what is EC2 Instance Store, not EBS volume. EBS volume does not actually improve the performance of EC2 instance the way EC2 Instance Store will do. So that is just that about EC2 Instance Store. So I hope you like it. See you in my next episode.